How do you make coaching and team building programs have a lasting effect in the workplace?
Now, this is a really, really good question, and when I read it the first time, I put a lot of stuff ran through my mind because this is probably one of the most critical questions that I think we've been asked, because there are a lot of programs out there in the team building range, in the personality assessments, psychometric programs. There are a lot of programs, great content, big companies that have built great, well-respected, well-used products.
Yeah.
That address the issues around team building and morale, and improving the individual, improving the team performance. But one of the common things that we heard a lot of over the years, and we've seen a lot of over the years, is a lot of times these programs get implemented with a lot of support and a lot of gusto, and there's these great multi-day, full-day programs, and everyone's like jazzed about it. And they learn new languages, how to speak about, they attach themselves to like colors or to animals, and it helps them kind of better communicate. And they learn a lot about themselves, and they learn a lot about their teams, and that this new understanding is going to help them really improve their performance, their connectivity to each other, their work, and it's going to have a huge effect on the organization. And a lot of companies have that momentum that quickly fades away once they try to actually have it become part of their normal everyday. It does not have the lasting effect. And so a lot of times things just go back to normal, and sometimes that they view, well, maybe those programs aren't as good as they thought they were because it didn't work, it didn't last, when really the problem isn't necessarily the programs. The problem is the culture, the work environment that the programs are trying to be implemented in. And this reminds me of kind of early when we were forming Roman 3, we were building some of these programs. We have four, we call them personality inventory programs with psychometrics involved to kind of help around, team communication, team performance, finding purpose at work, those types of things. And we were very excited when we were building those out, because we saw these as, being able to kind of be up there as far as quality and content, and, improving the organizational success and performance of some of these, much, much bigger brands. But we did a lot of beta testing and a lot of needs assessments when we were building these out. And I remember we had a conversation early on when we were looking at beta testing this with the RCMP. We were talking to a staff sergeant from a local who was responsible for a few detachments kind of in Nova Scotia. And we were looking to have some of these programs used with some of the detachments that he was responsible for. And this was a big thing for him, was that they invested a lot of money in a lot of these programs to have, to improve kind of the communications, the morale, a lot of stuff that was really important to him, to have these cohesive teams to provide the community services that the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, are responsible for. But every time they tried to do these things, a week or two later, everything went back to normal, and as if they'd never done it, and they thought it was a waste of time, effort, money, and it made a lot of the people that went through them very frustrated that they're wasting their time with these things that were never going to take off. And we were very conscious of this when we were very aware of this when we were trying to look at piloting our own programs with these detachments, because we're like, well, we don't want that to be our program. So then that's when we started looking at the workplace diagnostics stuff that we focus on now, because we realized that that our programs were going to be, maybe very well received day of, week of, but if we didn't address the culture, if we didn't assess the culture that they were going to be implemented in, it was kind of like, planting seeds in hard, dry, barren soil. It just wasn't going to take.